Right now, I want to welcome from Pocketful of Liberty, Rachel Mullen is with us. Rachel, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am excellent. It is great talking to you today. Appreciate your time, and thank you for going out to the Supreme Court earlier this week and talking to folks out there. I thought your column at Pocketful of Liberty and your video was very, very interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when people throw around the word rights and they don't seem to appreciate the right of the Second Amendment. So it gives you a new perspective on things, and there were a lot of ignorant people out there.
Yeah, it sure sounded that way. And I thought it was very interesting when you asked people, how important. Clearly, these folks thought that healthcare or access to healthcare or employer covered birth control was a right, but when it came to the right of self-defense, it was a very different issue, wasn't it?
I could not get anyone to agree with me from that side of the aisle. Most of them actually even said that it wasn't even a part of the Constitution that they believed in, as if you can pick and choose what rights you believe in. So it was an interesting conversation that I had with people. But a right is a right, and if you choose not to own a firearm or shoot a firearm, that doesn't take away my right to own a firearm. But they couldn't seem to grasp that. They thought that they were able to dictate what my rights are.
Well, yeah, and isn't that the point, Rachel? That majority rules. You don't like it? It's too bad. The Constitution's old, and it's a living thing anyway, and it's a really old living thing. It's kind of like your grandma, Rachel, and just like your grandma can sometimes get confused, the Constitution can get confused, and it's up to us, the young people, to set the Constitution right and to actually spell out what things mean.
Yeah, that's right. I think we need to remind people that the Second Amendment is a right that we're all entitled to, whether you believe in it or not. And it doesn't necessarily mean because somebody else doesn't believe in it that negates my rights. But it's kind of hard to get people to understand that sometimes.
It is. And I think what is frustrating, and I applaud you for not getting into arguments or debates with these folks, but they're so sure that they're right, despite their lack of knowledge or really any basis in fact. They are just, but boy, Rachel, they are convinced that they're right and you're wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. They do think that they have the right to tell me what I should believe, and I find that very offensive as a woman that these men or these women, like that minister that I interviewed, think that they can tell me that what my rights are. And I made the argument that the Second Amendment is a right. It's not something like health care that is not spelled out in the Constitution. The Second Amendment is clearly written in there. And if they're going to demand an employer to pay for birth control under the assumed name of rights, that perhaps that, according to their logic, that my employer should pay for my ammunition. Because the cost of ammunition has gone up, just using that same argument. And clearly most of the people actually just didn't have much to say and would walk away after they just said, no, that's not right, or you're not entitled to that.
I believe the correct argument would be that businesses could opt out of some calibers, Rachel, as long as they would be willing to, again, provide the common self-defense calibers like 9mm, 45, 40 Smith & Wesson. But, any of the exotic calibers, you're going to be on your own for that one.
Yes. You're only protected under
and you couldn't find anybody. You couldn't find anybody who would agree with this premise, huh?
No, and as a conservative, of course, I would never expect my employer to purchase my ammunition, but they couldn't see. I think they understood. A lot of them got caught up in the hypocrisy of their statement, but then they would then start on saying that I didn't have a right to own a gun, and that I didn't have a right to own a gun when clearly that's spelled out in the Constitution, but they somehow had a right to health care and birth control, and it was really challenging to find anyone in that crowd. Actually, I couldn't find anyone who agreed with me in even the premise of the Second Amendment in general.
We've got the video that you posted at Pocketful of Liberty. Let's let folks hear for themselves your exchange with one of the folks you talked to outside of the Supreme Court this week.
Okay, so why are you here today?
I'm here because I believe that religious liberty should apply to everyone, including the people who work for corporations, not just the bosses who run them.
Okay, so you think that employers should be forced to pay for birth control, that women can't pay for it on their own?
I do. I feel like the... Sorry.
It's okay.
One of the things that comes through for me most strongly in the scriptures is the importance of taking care of the marginalized and those without a lot of access to resources.
Okay, well, the Second Amendment guarantees my right to bear arms. Should my employer be forced to pay for my ammunition?
I believe that health care is a right that everyone has.
So my right to defend myself is not my right?
I put healthcare into a different category. Healthcare is a basic human right that every person deserves.
And so the Second Amendment is not?
No.
Okay.
Healthcare is a basic human right that everybody deserves, but the right to defend that life, right, is not, Rachel. You've got the right to be protected from the sniffles, but not the right to be protected from a home invader.
Correct, apparently. That man, as soon as he said no, he walked away, obviously, and ended the conversation, as most of them did.
Well, let me ask you this, because, at Pocketful of Liberty, I mean, it seems you all, I don't want to speak for everybody there, but it seems like there's a strong libertarian bent among many of the writers there. The name of the website is Pocketful of Liberty. You like liberty. You guys are pro-liberty at Pocketful of Liberty. So
yeah, sure,
does
absolutely.
this depress you? Does this anger you when you encounter this type of attitude? I mean, this is what you're up against, Rachel.
Well, you have to take some of it with a sense of humor, otherwise your head will explode. So it's incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, I like to get the message out so that way people know what exactly they are fighting and what they're fighting for and what they're up against, because you just can't sit on the couch and make comments to yourself or your spouse or to your best friend. You need to get out there and get active and make your case heard and meet them on their turf, because they're coming after our rights.
Talking again with Rachel Mullen from Pocketful of Liberty. Rachel, thank you again for doing what you do, and thanks for your time this afternoon. Hope we can talk again in the future.
Absolutely. Have a great day.